Gather round, kids, it's story time. Once there was a guy who made a video that featured a tale about his brief but expensive foray into Magic the Gathering. He was also a big fan of miniature-based gameplay. So imagine his interest when he heard about a game that appeared to combine aspects of the two gameplay types. Actually, I'll save you the trouble. He was totally interested. And now he's played it and he's made a video just for you. So go watch it. Oh, wait, that's this video.
Wait a minute, I forgot my introduction. Introduction.
Summoner Wars is a two-player game that currently has 4 factions split into 2 starter sets. Each set comes with cards, a fold-out map, damage counters, and some dice. There are other faction decks planned for future release, but new players need to start with one of these. Every deck has a summoner and a starting army layout. Players lay out their cards accordingly, and after an abbreviated first turn, the game starts. The active player draws until he has 5 cards, and then he can start summoning units. Each unit has a summoning cost, and if you want to bring that unit out, you need to discard that many cards from your magic pile. Players start out with an empty magic pile, so we've added some cards. A player's summoned creature is put adjacent to one of his walls. After summoning, players can play as many event cards and walls as they want. Event cards are free, and walls just go into an empty space on your side of the battlefield. Now it's time for some action. Players can pick up to 3 units and move them up to 2 spaces each. After everything's moved, you can then choose 3 units to attack with. Units can have melee or ranged attacks and roll their attack value in dice. A 3 or greater is a hit, and the defending unit takes a wound marker for each hit. Casualties caused by you are placed on your magic pile. After all battles are done, players can add as many cards from their hand as they want to the pile as well. Their turn is then over and the other player goes. The winner is the player with the only remaining summoner on the board. That's all there is to it. Like most games of this nature, the game isn't found in the rules, but in the various abilities of the cards. In fact, I would say the simplicity of the rules is a big strength. I mean, good luck trying to explain the stack to someone new to Magic. I was originally concerned that battles would be too simplistic, but that actually makes the game fun if you view it as a 30-minute slugfest rather than some kind of deep war game. The whole move cards around on a grid thing works really well, except for the fact that the grid is this folded, refolded, and folded again mess. I recommend ironing it down and leaving it out of the box, or printing and mounting your own like this industrious fellow here has done. If it were up to me, I would consider releasing the upcoming deluxe map along with the 4 base decks as some kind of deluxe edition. Anyway, the fact that your creatures need to be summoned next to walls makes destroying walls almost as tempting as blitzing the enemy summoner. It's fun to think about maximizing your battlefield presence with what you've got on hand, as opposed to other card-based games where there's usually no reason to not have your front lines filled up with as many creatures as possible. The 4 base decks all definitely have their own feel, too. Elves are kind of weak but really boomy, dwarves can lock down enemies and manipulate magic piles, tundra orcs have potentially powerful units but with some inherent randomness, and goblins are your typical horde army. This kind of asymmetrical business makes me want to try each army out multiple times and in different combinations. I'm also looking forward to the newer decks coming out. One thing I would like to have seen though is flavor text on the cards. For some reason, every card game is better with that stuff. There are rules for deck building if you're into that kind of thing, but they look kind of stringent to me, almost to where there's not even any point. It feels to me like you're not going to win your game based on some bitchin' deck combo, but rather how you move your units around. And that's good for people like me. We can buy a faction deck and move on without thinking we need to somehow complete our collection. And that's just what I plan on doing. Buying decks, playing the game, having fun. And you should too. Good times.